It's worth looking at the lessons from how previous polls have played out in referenda. History shows this referendum faced an uphill battle to succeed, and Peter Dutton's decision to formally oppose the Voice back in April may have proved to be the decisive blow. Here's our chief election analyst, Tom Connell.
For the Yes campaign to win tonight, it needs to defy the history of referendums in Australia. Only 8 out of 44 have passed since Federation. For Voice supporters, the trend is not their friend. The last referendum 24 years ago was when Australia comprehensively rejected a republic. In 1988, the bicentenary brought another raft of proposed constitutional changes, championed by popular Prime Minister Bob Hawke. Labor's Yes campaign was countered by the Liberals' No push, polarising Parliament and resulting in the rejection of religious freedoms, increased 4-year terms in office and recognising local governments. That was Hawke's second referendum failure. 4 years earlier, Australia declined his push for forced simultaneous House and Senate elections and refused to give governments the flexibility to interchange state and federal powers. But although Bob Hawke's referendum record was 0 from 6, those defeats didn't translate to election losses. Labor was re-elected regardless. Context that could comfort Anthony Albanese 18 months out from the next federal poll. So when was the last successful referendum? What are the takeaways for tonight's poll? 45 years ago, 4 questions were asked of Australians at the 1977 referendum. 3 of those passed, changing the constitution so territories were included in national referendum counts and forcing judges to retire at 70 among them. The difference then was the bipartisan backing for the proposals from Liberal Prime Minister Malcolm Fraser and Labor leader Gough Whitlam. And the same can be said for the 1967 referendum, when a record 90% yes vote gave the government the green light to include Indigenous people in lawmaking. That remarkable result possible because of bipartisanship and the absence of a no campaign. The trend continues when we show you the remaining referendums to succeed. These 4 constitutional changes were all broadly backed across the political aisle and thus the nation. The challenge for the Voice tonight is to defy more than 120 years of history where no referendum has ever passed if opposed by the Labor or Liberal parties. Bipartisanship brings constitutional change. The voting population divides when our Parliament is polarised. Making matters harder for the Yes campaign is this overview of the 8 successful referendums since 1901. 7 of the 8 won a majority in all states, and none have passed when more than 1 state voted no. The Yes vote can afford to lose 2 states tonight, as the poll suggests will happen at minimum. Win from there would need to defy even more history. Constitutional change in Australia is difficult. Nobody under the age of 64 in Australia has voted in a successful referendum. And of those 8 successful referendums, only 1 was a Labor proposal. That was under Ben Chifley. Labor's other 24 were lost, a failure rate of 96%. Tonight, Labor's referendum record could worsen, or it could rewrite history with Voice victory. That outcome now just hours away.